Morning. Do you push away your moments of sadness? Do you believe sadness indicates depression? Do you see weakness in sadness? Do you think that being in recovery um, now means you have no right to be sad? And if you show it, your peers in recovery will question your recovery? Just for today, can we embrace this emotion and open our minds to discover the benefits of this emotion? Welcome, guys. This is Just for Today. I'm Lisa Kaye with Promise Resource Network. Let me know you're out there. Good morning, Miss Darlene. Glad to see your sweet cell phone this morning. Let me know you're out there. Let me know what your thoughts. So, what is this about? Pushing away our sadness? That it indicates depression and weakness. And in our recovery, we have no right to show sadness or feel sadness. And if we do, our peers in recovery will question our recovery. Yeah. So we're going to talk about this morning. Good morning, Demetra. Glad to see you on. Good morning. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know. See, currently I'm experiencing great sadness. Just receiving last week a cancer diagnosis given to my mom. As I experienced this sadness emotion, I'm experiencing a lot of different things, you know, waking up, sleeping from sleep, crying, not being able to go to sleep, waking up extremely a lot earlier than I normally do. Appetite, really weird. Yeah. Good morning, Aaron P. Glad to see you are on. Knowing how to discover the truth for myself is one of the many gifts you and I receive in recovery. My recovery, my responsibility, your responsibility. Education, that's one of the pathways to recovery. Good morning, Angela. Glad to see you are on. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I love being outside. I'm in South Carolina this morning at my home, and the behind me is a recovery garden, and we'll talk about recovery gardens one day on Just for Today. Yeah, but anyway, it's one of many that I have. I rescue plants that Walmart and Lowe's and Home Depot are ready to throw out or sell you for 25 cents. But thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate it. Being outside is my go-to. Love it. So glad that we can be out right now, right? See, sadness and I go way back. And I have carried guilt around this emotion. I identify as a mom who has lost a child, a mom who has walked on the family side of addiction for the last 15 years, a mom experiencing a child being incarcerated for the last year, and having two children with diagnosis of chronic substance use disorder. So you see, sadness and I have been joined at the hip, and I had to dig in so my emotional self could get a plan around it. See, my mom, the greatest woman in my life, is going to need me, and I want to fully be there for her. In my unwellness, I wouldn't have been able to do this, right? But in my wellness, in my recovery, I can find out the truth for myself. I'm smart, I'm brave, I'm courageous. So are you. So let's get a grip on this sadness. It gets a bad rap. So just for today, hear me out. And if this is news to you, I encourage you to add this to your own recovery work. If I'm not the only one that's watching now or will watch later that currently is feeling some deep sadness and feeling like some guilt around that and feeling like, you know, what the heck, right? Sadness truly has gotten a bad rap in our society. Everywhere you turn, you will find many options for avoiding sadness and becoming happier. Social media is the main culprit. We get endless feeds, right? Indicating, showing the world only to be happy, our happiest faces. In many ways, happiness or at least the performance of being happy. We've all faked it, right? On social media and in our daily lives has become an indicator for success. The more happy you are, the more successful. While sadness has become an indicator of failure, or something seriously is wrong with you and you need to, maybe go see a mental health doctor, or maybe you need to get on meds, or maybe, there's something deep, deep, deep wrong. And it's seen as a weakness, or something seriously is wrong with you. Not what has happened in your life, but what's wrong with you, right? That's what our society puts out there. Social media just validates it at every turn, right? While sadness has become an indicator of failure, or something serious wrong with you, for me, the failure, that deep guilt as a mother. So feeling sad around that, right? All of this making you sad to hear about this morning. What I'm currently going through, what I've been through. Maybe you're thinking about your own sadness. Of course, there's an app for that. Yeah, there's apps for everything, right? So is sadness bad? That's what we're going to talk about this morning. Let me know what you think about this. And I hope that you will find some relief this morning, even if it's just for today. There are many myths around about sadness, that get in the way of our abilities to live healthy, meaningful lives. Myths trip us up at every turn. All the myths about mental health, about substance use. Those champions that are on here with me live this morning, all those myths that our world puts out there about us, right? There's this myth that says that if you have sadness, you are depressed. Equating sadness, that emotion of sadness, with depression is one of the number one mistakes people make when negotiating their emotions. This is what I discovered on my own when I dove in to figure out if what I was experiencing was an issue. Was it bad? Did I have the right to be sad? Is sadness something that I needed to tackle, right? Yeah. So this is what my recovery material that I dug into helped me to understand. All right. So if you've been in a relationship for years and suddenly it ends, you know what I'm talking about. Of course, you'll feel sad about the loss of that connection. Good morning, Erin Wells. Just for today, good to see you on, my bestie. Yeah. You know what that feels like to be sad after a friendship ends, that connection ends, right? If someone important to you rejects you, it makes sense that you feel sad, and because you're in pain. Sadness, listen up, is the healthy emotional response to pain. Do you hear me? Sadness is healthy. It is a healthy response to pain and loss. And it signals a need for care, right? Depression. Let's talk about that a second. Let's don't get this confused. Depression is a clinical disorder where one is not simply sad. It goes beyond that. Depression is not sadness, right? But it often involves a lot of sadness that has not been addressed or expressed, right? Good morning, Christopher. Glad to see you on. I love you too. Thank you for coming on this morning. So another myth around being sad, right, is showing sadness being a weakness. Sadness is one of our strongest emotions because it signals and pulls others towards us when we are able to express it. Do you hear me? It's not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength. Think about a crying baby. That little baby has no other way to communicate, to get support, than to cry, right? Sadness is meant to be seen in order to signal others to respond because we are heavily social humans. We're that species that needs connection. We're that species that needs to know that we are cared for and that we are loved, right? So crying, demonstrating sadness, whether it's on your face or how you maneuver through your day or not, maneuvering through your day as you normally would, is a signal to people that we need support. And it's our way, right? It's a healthy way to show this emotion, sadness. When we confront those who are scared or in pain, when we receive care and we get encouragement from others, humans have um, been able to respond to sadness with empathy that acts to cool down. And I love this because I love the science behind this. It's not just a feel good just for today, but there's also science behind this with our nervous system. So when someone comes up and sees sadness in you and they console you, love on you, hug you, let you know that you don't have to walk this alone, it cools down, settles down our nervous system. The ability to be able to do this will regulate this in our bodies. And it will allow us to think better, more effectively, right? Using our thinking brain instead of that irrational brain that says that the sadness that you're feeling is uncalled for and that you are not in recovery, that you need a lot of work and that you're weak. Yeah, that's what it does. But when we're able to express it and others connect with us, our nervous system is positively affected. So many of you, since I've been upfront about what I'm currently sad about with my mom and cancer, so many of you have reached out to me virtually and live with hugs and kisses and words of encouragement and just silence to sit and just allow me to feel, right? To be sad and not to say, oh, Lisa, you're strong. Get through it. You'll be able to do this. Not to trying to fix me, trying to take away that I have the right to express my emotion of sadness, just like I have the right to express being happy or being filled with joy. It's the same thing, right? All right, let me see what you got to say about that this morning, and we'll move on. See a lot of chat going on this morning. Miss Roberta, so glad to see you. Christopher, always reminding us that Badass Incorporated is in the house. I wish everybody on here could sit with Chris for 5 minutes, and you will understand why this title of Badass Incorporated belongs solely to Chris. Would not miss this for nothing. This with with his coffee. All right, I hear you, Chris. I hear you. Demetria says sadness was a huge trigger for me until I realized sadness is a part of my life, just like happiness is a part of life. Whether I'm sad or happy doesn't mean I have to use for me. It means I am now able to cope with a sane, clear mind. Absolutely, Demetra. So glad that you were able to embrace that and see it as a strength and not a weakness. Yeah. We miss you too, Roberta. Good morning, Liz. So glad you were on. So glad you're on. Thank you, Roberta. Thank you so much. Liz says it's okay to feel your feelings. Absolutely. We're human. That's what connects us. We all get it. We all get it. We've all felt sad. We've all been rejected. We've all had loss, right? Especially in recovery when we sit in it and we start feeling again, right? We don't numb our pain, right? And we drastically in the beginning try to figure out how to numb it because we're not used to feeling sad, happy, joy, or any of it, right? Wow, it is a beautiful feeling to know that sadness is part of our lives and it is strength when we are able to embrace our sadness, because the more we're able to embrace sadness, the more we're able to embrace the joy in our lives. So many of us can never quite get the grip on that joy thing, right? And most of the time you'll find out when we're not able to do that, we are rejecting our feelings of sadness and we're seeing them as weakness. Oh, Roberta's in Ohio. Okay, well, you need to get down to Charlotte. I don't know why you in Ohio, but I'm just teasing. Aaron says, sounds like something Aaron would say. Yep, I know. Wonder why. Great minds think alike. Christopher says, if most people in recovery were to sit down with me for 5 minutes, they would definitely know in their heart, mind, and soul that they are badasses too. Absolutely, Chris. You are so up for right forth with your recovery and the things that you experienced. You're courageous behind it, like so many other people on this chat this morning, on this class this morning, and so many people that'll be watching later. You know that your recovery is mighty. Yeah. And we give it away. That's what we're supposed to do in recovery, is give it away. And in the form of our heart, mind, and soul. And being vulnerable, man. That is the greatest form of bravery, is when we're vulnerable to speak about what we're feeling, what we've been through. But then there's the hope, right, of where we are today. And that helps folks see that they too can recover, that it is not just possible, but probable that recovery happens, right? And being able to embrace our emotions is one of those beautiful things that we discover in recovery. And I'm here today to tell you that, yeah, I'm sad as all get out right now. I am. I am. Cry all the time, puffy eyes and all, right? But I'm telling you, there is freedom in education. And there is freedom when we realize in our own recovery that it's our responsibility when we are experiencing something. You know, it's great to go to our champions, right, that have gone before us to draw that strength. But another part of that is get smart, be wise, go dig in your own stuff, right, in your own recovery. Find out for yourself, because not always are we going to have those champions right beside us. Part of our recovery walk is to dig in, be responsible, and figure out what's out there for us to embrace. And if it doesn't feel good to us, what we discover, we don't have to accept it. We keep digging until we find that speaks to our core, that speaks right into our hearts, that we feel like, yeah, this is good stuff. This gives me relief. This gives me hope. And I'm telling you, I am so glad I dug in because I was starting to feel like maybe I was getting depressed and maybe I needed to go reach out clinically. And I'm not saying that that won't happen, because my mother is everything to me, right? I'm an only child. I've experienced a lot of trauma, and my natural trauma instinct and response is the worst is going to happen, right? As I told you earlier, and I've told you before, my lived experience is that mother who's experienced a loss of a child, you know, children incarcerated, got one incarcerated now, right? You know, chronic substance use disorder. At every turn, those things in my life around being a mother has been critical things. And my trauma gut, anytime something, happens, I automatically go to worse. In fact, this morning at 4:30 in the morning, a phone rang in my home. Wasn't my phone, but it rang, and I instantly went there in my mind that someone has died. Something terrible within our family has happened. And I was sitting there waiting, going, what in the world? What else can happen to me? And of course, it was some silly robocall, right? But I instantly went there. So for those, I don't know, 3 or 4 minutes of this morning was rough for me. And then I was so glad that I dug into this material, because I had this feeling of feeling so sad about why I continue to experience in this, right? And why I need to stay in my recovery material for sure. Yeah, absolutely. So there's another myth out there. If you let yourself be sad, you'll get stuck in sadness forever. Oh my God. Really? I've not heard that one, but it makes sense. While emotions may feel powerful and unmovable, right? Right now, my sadness feels like it weighs 5 million pounds. It's just sitting on my heart, right? It's just sitting on my heart. Emotions are actually quite fleeting, and my material told me um, that they flee pretty quickly, right? And because they only exist in our humanness to signal immediate behavior, whether it's behavior for you to reach out for support or someone else is going to see the behavior and, wrap their arms around you to support you, right? Emotions are simply your mind and body's way of pulling your attention to something in your environment or life. You hear that? It's not a bad thing. It's a signal. We need signals as humans that we need something that or someone that is in our life can be signaled that we're in distress, that we need this attention, right? Sometimes people have difficulties effectively understanding and responding to your sadness because they believe the myths. They're so scared. Oh no, Lisa's gonna, you know, be in trouble, right? She's gonna need help more so than her family and friends can give her, right? Which makes being sad seem quite dangerous and threatening. Yeah, right. Oh no, we need to have a intervention, right? Lisa's experiencing this. Y'all know what happened to her. We need to, people want to wrap around you like you are sick, right? And that what you're experiencing is not normal and not part of our humanness that has benefits. And sadness is one of the main ones that people will rally around to try to take away from us. And sadly, many of us have spent most of our lives feeling like sadness was one of those things that we needed to get rid of. So, how does this look in real life? So, when I became a mother, right, this made sense to me. And I thought this is simple for me to wrap my mind around. Maybe it'll be helpful for others. I don't know. When I became a mother, I had just started working. I was a young mother, really young mother, so young that my own brain had not fully developed, or I would have thought about that a little bit harder, right? I had just started working, finished college. I just graduated from college, got my first real big girl job, right? Making more than minimum wage. Just started my career. I couldn't seem to feel happy or much of anything after my son was born. Over time, I realized that I was feeling down, right? So, and I didn't know what to do about it. And I've carried this for years. I've always told people, I guess I just wasn't meant to be a full time mother because I experienced some stuff right after the birth of my child to the point where when they needed me to come back earlier than the 6 weeks, I jumped for it. And then I felt guilt. And I've carried that guilt for many, many years. But just for today, I have chosen to realize that sadness was just a part of me feeling down, um, right? That I was just confused about emotions around being a brand new mother and how to balance that with my desire to work and have a career. And how was I going to juggle that? So instead of understanding that, I just I was sad for a while until I could process. I ended up processing out, but I didn't really understand how that all worked out because I still carried around the guilt of having this feeling so much that I didn't talk about it, right? I didn't really express what I was feeling. I felt very guilty. I believe feeling sad was a sign of weakness back then and would only make me be a terrible mother. But sadness made sense. It actually indicated that I was a caring mother and committed to my career who was struggling with a major life adjustment on top of being a baby myself, right? I can let that go today. I can. I let it go yesterday as I dug into this material. A lot of other things that I'm not going to talk about that I've carried around as a weakness around the emotion of sadness, I've been able to put to rest. Just for today, I hope you can too. There's plenty of things out there right now that we're carrying that we have no control over, but this you can. This you can. When my sadness would have no longer been needed, right, in my life, um, I felt guilty and I wouldn't embrace it. I didn't think I needed it. I thought it was an emotion that, would lead to some bad thing, right? But let me tell you, just for today, if you can embrace that sadness, like all of our other emotions, joy and happiness, right? Anger is healthy. Even anger is healthy. hmm All of our emotions, we were given by our higher power. Yep. What happens though is we confuse that those strong responses to things like anger, symbolizing that anger itself is wrong. That's a falsehood. That's a myth. We have to learn how to manage strong feelings, right? So it doesn't trip us up out in the world or with our friends and family. But anger, in and of itself, is an emotion that should be embraced as well. There are great things that have happened in our country and in our world because somebody, anger rose up and motivated them to make a speech or to rally. Oh my gosh, we could sit here all day and talk about those heroes, and some of you are ranked right up there with those heroes. You took a stand when anger rose up. It's a great emotion, right? It's healthy and is meant to help us better respond to ourselves, others, and the world. It's impossible to selectively repress one of our emotions. We just can't say, well, I'm just going to choose joy and happy, 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 and I'm going to repress all those other ones. Well, my material educated me yesterday. It said, when we limit one, we limit them all. You've got to embrace all of them, just like we do our five senses, right? Avoiding sadness, we stunt our ability to connect with others. Yeah. In times of sadness, we humans have common ways we express sadness. You know that feeling your throat gets really restricted and you can't speak? It's painful. We get pressure in our chest, an empty feeling in our stomachs, the uncontrollable crying. We, by allowing myself to experience sadness, I'm able to feel more compassion, not only for others, but for myself. From this compassion comes that sense of gratitude that we talked about last Friday and we talked about again on Monday. Doesn't everything always lead back to gratitude in recovery? Everything that I bring to you guys on Just for Today, I promise you, it always leads back to that big old foundation that we discovered and built in recovery was gratitude. Yeah, I love it. When we move through life emotionally numbed out, we are likely to feel disconnected and alone. You remember? Finally, if we can just embrace, full experience all of our emotions, we now have the opportunity to connect with wisdom that informs us about who we are and what we need. Most of us, when we were unwell, we had no idea what we needed. Now in recovery, it's our responsibility to dig in and figure these things out, right? It is. We're discovering every day who we are and what we need because we got to put ourselves first. We got to do that so we can be there for the people we love. We can show up for work and our careers, those things that we're very, very passionate about, right? Sadness. Don't push it away. Be aware that it's part of who you are. It's a human connection. Let go of that guilt. Quit worrying about that your sadness is going to lead you to stay stuck in it forever. Embrace. See it as a signal to yourself and to others who care about you. You need a hug. You need someone just to sit with you. Embrace that sadness. When we are happy and we're experiencing joy, we want everybody to know. We want to bring all our friends and family around to experience our joy and happiness, to get on that feeling. But when we're feeling sad, all of a sudden we become ashamed and we become, like recluse, and we don't want to put that on anybody. what we're doing is we're denying people who love us, right? Who are put in our lives, that this world, this our higher power put in our lives at the right time, at the right moment. We are denying them that opportunity to serve us, to be that connection for us, right? Yeah, just for today. Embrace your sadness. Quit pushing it away. Embrace it just like you do your happy, happy, joy, joy. Yeah, yeah. Let others know. Even if you don't have the words, don't disconnect yourself, right? Get yourself out there with your tribe, with your people. Your people will know, right? My people sure know. They do. They do. And it all turns, they show up and just say, yeah, I see you, Lisa Kaye. I hear you. I'm here for you, right? You don't have to walk this alone, right? And I'm here to tell you this morning, you don't have to walk alone either. Allow your signal to be seen like a lighthouse, right? Let it be seen by those who need to love on you and care for you in your time of sadness. It's your way to connect. It was given to us as an emotion by our higher power. So we must need it. It must be useful because guess what? We already saw scientifically that it helps our nervous system. Yeah, our higher power knows what they're doing. Absolutely. Our universe takes care of us, right? Sadness is part of who we are. Let's embrace it this morning, even if it's just for today. I hope you find value in this. Well, let's see what you guys have to say about it this morning. We'll wrap up because, as Aaron P says, Miss Lisa's got to get to Charlotte. All right, let's see what you got to say. A lot of chat going on. Deidre, good to see you on this morning. Allow yourself to set a timeline to feel the emotion. Absolutely. Roll through it. In my experience, if I don't feel it and choose to push it down, it ends up in an explosion. Absolutely. Deal with it. And sometimes dealing with it, or a lot of times dealing with it, is not suppressing, right? Getting out there and allowing that sadness to be felt and seen because it is your signal. The more we be a recluse, the more we feel shame and blame around the sadness, as Deidre points out, it will explode, right? And become something unhealthy for us, for sure. Yes. Deidre says, stumps the ability to be grateful and feel gratitude. Yes. Hashtag we do recovery. Do recover. Finally, someone who agrees that taking care of self first is paramount to being able to take care of others. Our recovery is selfish. And it can be seen that way. Absolutely. But this is that good selfishness, right? That we can show up. We can show up in our lives for the people that mean the most. Just like in the time of my life that I think I've always known would come one day, that as a older person myself, that I would show up for my parents that are aging. I'm an only child. It's me. It's me and y'all. Gonna need y'all, right? Yeah, and I know that I have my recovery family to walk with me, even if it's virtually. It's okay. It's okay. It works for me. Yeah, absolutely. I've always known, right? But now that I'm so glad that I'm in recovery and I'm not walking the same walk that I did about 7 years ago. If this would have happened to me 7 years ago, I wouldn't have been able to show up for my mom at all. Absolutely. Liz, oh, you're welcome, Liz. You're welcome. Oh, helps more than you know. I hope so. I hope so. Yeah, dig in. I just scratched the surface, guys. Dig in. Find your own material. Talk with others that maybe are ahead of you in recovery. I don't know what feels good to you, what works for you. Sit at the feet of champions. I don't know. Whatever that is for you, dig in. Dig in. If this struck a chord with you that you feel like, yeah, I've been walking in this for a while, this pushing away my sadness, hiding from people, embracing the fact that this is a a sign of weakness, right? Or I'm going to stay stuck in it. Well, I'm here to tell you that's a lie. That's a lie. Get out with your people. Let people see your signal, right? Therefore, if you allow others to see your signal, guess what they'll do? They'll trust you enough to allow you to see their signal of sadness. So, as a recovery person who's ready to give away their recovery at any given moment, we can show up for those people who need us the most, right? And also allow them to be free from this bondage of feeling like sadness is one of those emotions that we have no right to feel, right? Because that is not the truth, right? All right. Let's see. Matt, glad to see you're on. That's one of my habits is to wallow in the sadness though. But yeah, it's okay to be sad. Just not not too much. Yeah. It is a signal, right? It is. So if you're feeling sadness a lot and your needs aren't getting met, analyze yourself for a moment. Are you hiding it? Are you masking it? Are you isolating, right? Are you allowing your signal to be seen by those people in your life, right? Yeah, that can help you turn it around, right? To help you see the gratitude. But sometimes in the midst of our sadness, it's hard to see that gratitude, right? We talked about that on Friday and we talked again about it on Monday about that cheesy gratitude list. Well, it's time to dust that bad boy off and not see it so cheesy because I'm going to tell you what, my gratitude journal has come in quite handy this last week, coping with the diagnosis that was slapped in our faces last week concerning my mom. So I tell you what, I have embraced it. And I'm adding to it daily. So yeah, gratitude. Everything always leads back to that, right? It is part of our foundation in recovery. Can't ignore it. Um, Roberta, I'm so glad you got on today too. Deidre says, love you guys. Remember to be good to yourselves today. Absolutely. Deidre reminds us uh, the key is to not get stuck in any emotion that does not serve you or feels uncomfortable. Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you, Liz. We love you as well. And I appreciate your prayers. I surely do. And I appreciate all of you who continue to lift myself and my mom, my family up in prayers. And I do appreciate it. And coming on this morning, you guys are my bestest forever, for real. Anybody that can get up at this early in the morning and spend time in their recovery walk is a champion for sure, especially coming on live and participating and letting us know you're out there. All right. Well, guys, have a beautiful Wednesday, hump day. I hope that just for today, at least, you can dig in and embrace and stop pushing away the sadness and letting it be your signal, right? Letting it rise up to be your signal, as well as being aware that it is a signal coming from other people that you care about and that you love, and that your responsibility as a recovery champion is just to love on them, to let them know, hey, I'm here for you, even if it's just to sit in silence. We don't have to fix anything. In fact, we can't fix anything. All we can do is show up and love and be there for people and just express the hope that's happened in our lives, right? Thank you guys for coming on. We'll see you Friday for Just for Today at 6:30. If you feel led to, please share this on your social media. We're not the only group of people out there that might need to embrace this whole thing about sadness and getting some relief and some grace today around the emotion of sadness. Guys, I love you. We'll see you on Friday. Be careful out there and just know that PRN, we love you and come see us sometime. You know, we're open. We'd love to have you be a part of us. Aaron P., I'll see you soon. As Aaron says, it's time for Miss Lisa to head to Charlotte. Bye, guys.